Prince Harry. We'll talk about the Australian pretend royal tour in a minute, but this has broken today that Harry is being sued for libel along with his fellow former Centre Ballet charity chief, Mark Dyer.
Imagine building a legacy to honour your late mother's heartbeat, a charity for the world's most vulnerable children. Now imagine that same charity dragging you into the High Court, calling you the architect of a calculated smear campaign. This isn't a tabloid rumour, it's a staggering legal reality. As court records from April 2026 become public, the Forget-Me-Not Foundation has done the unthinkable. They've placed the Duke of Sussex in the defendant's box. But as we dig into the secret emails and the fallout in Australia, one question remains. How did a mission of mercy turn into a high-stakes war of reputation?
Meghan and Harry always try to claim that they are some sort of saviors of women and black women at that, and that they are doing everything in their power to help them. Well, this very messy feud is precisely to do with Harry not being respectful to at least whoever was running the charity and the management. I agree with you. I think it's absolutely, we're just all alleging here, but it must have something to do with Dr. Sophie Chandorker, because that was extremely ill-informed on Harry's side.
It was supposed to be the one thing that was sacred. In 2006, Harry didn't just start a charity, he planted a living memorial to his mother, Diana, in the soil of Lesotho. He named it Centre Ballet, literally forget-me-not. It was his heart project, a safe haven for children facing the devastating reality of HIV and AIDS. But by April 2026, that sanctuary didn't just crumble, it turned into a legal battlefield. The High Court records in London now tell a story that feels more like a betrayal than a business dispute. For years, the world saw the glittering polo matches and the celebrity-filled galas, but behind those polished Instagram posts, a war was brewing. Dr. Sophie Chandorker, a titan in the legal and tech world, stepped in as chair with a vision that was about to set the entire organization on fire. She wanted the money to actually reach Africa. She wanted to cut the bloated London overhead that was reportedly hemorrhaging cash. It sounds logical, right? But in the world of high-stakes philanthropy, logic often takes a back seat to ego. Suddenly, rumors began to leak. Allegations of difficult leadership and internal chaos started hitting the press. But here's the kicker. Dr. Sophie wasn't just some employee you could quiet with a non-disclosure agreement. She's a Zimbabwean-born lawyer who doesn't believe in backing down. She saw the headlines, she saw the coordinated leaks, and she did something no one expected. She didn't write a blog post, she didn't do an interview. She walked straight into the High Court and filed a claim that has left the Sussex legal team scrambling. The charity Harry built to honour his mother's memory is now officially accusing him of being the architect of a smear campaign designed to destroy them. They aren't just claiming a disagreement, they are claiming a deliberate digital onslaught. And as the lawyers sharpen their pens, a much darker detail has emerged from the shadows of a polo field in Florida, one that involves a stolen trophy and a public humiliation that Dr. Sophie will never forget. But as the legal walls close in London, the drama was about to take a 20-hour flight across the world because Australia was waiting and they weren't exactly holding out a welcome mat.
It all kind of went pear-shaped because Sophie Chandorker didn't like the way Harry was approaching some fundraising, the way he was a distant character who didn't go there very often.
Who can forget about Meghan, by the way, stealing the charity cup off Sophie Chandorker for the photo op?
Well, that's it. What Sophie Chandorker didn't like.
The High Court filing doesn't just use the word disagreement, it uses the word architect. Think about that. The charity isn't just saying Harry was involved, they are alleging he was the master planner behind a coordinated digital hit job. According to the April 2026 court documents, this wasn't just a few rogue tweets. This was a coordinated adverse media campaign designed to bury Dr. Sophie under a mountain of public hate. But why go to such lengths against a woman who was simply trying to save the charity's mission? The answer might lie in the onslaught of cyberbullying that followed. The filing claims that specific damaging information was weaponized and handed to media contacts before the board even knew what was happening. It was a preemptive strike, a digital assassination meant to make Dr. Sophie's position untenable. And it worked, at least for a while. The Sussex squad reportedly descended, creating a viral storm that targeted anyone who stood in the way of the Duke's narrative. But here's where the plan backfired. Dr. Sophie didn't crumble. She documented everything, every leak, every time-stamped article, every coordinated wave of harassment. She tracked the fingerprints back to the source. The most shocking part, the Duke's team hasn't actually denied that the media campaign took place. In a legally cautious response that has experts stunned, they didn't say this never happened. Instead, they questioned why the charity is wasting money on a lawsuit. It's a classic pivot, but in a defamation case, what you don't deny is often more damning than what you do. The Forget-Me-Not founder is now the primary defendant in a case about the very things he claims to hate: bullying, harassment, and the weaponization of the press. He's standing on the wrong side of his own moral crusade, and while his lawyers are fighting to keep his private texts from being read in open court, Harry was already boarding a plane to Australia, walking straight into a $50,000 hypocrisy that was about to blow up in his face. Wait until you hear what he was paid to talk about while his own charity was accusing him of workplace toxicity.
Kinsey, let's start with Prince Harry. An insider has confirmed to royal expert Rob Shooter that Prince Harry is now charging a small fee of $50,000 US. Doesn't sound small, but it is for a prince. This is for speaking appearances. This is a far cry from the millions he was charging per speech when he and Meghan ditched the royal family back in 2020. It sounds like the Duke's rivers of gold have dried up, Kinsey.
A speech that, in light of the lawsuit, feels like a fever dream. He was paid a reported $50,000 to stand on a stage in Melbourne and lecture an audience about psychosocial safety in the workplace. Let that sink in. He was being paid tens of thousands of dollars to tell leaders how to protect the mental health of their staff at the exact moment his own former staff were accusing him in court of being the architect of a harassment campaign. The hypocrisy didn't stop at the stage door. Before the couple even touched down, a massive row erupted over who was actually paying for this private visit. A spokesperson for the Sussexes dismissively called a petition signed by 45,000 angry Australians a moot point, insisting the trip was entirely privately funded. But the moot point became a PR nightmare just days later when New South Wales and Victoria Police confirmed the truth. Australian taxpayers would be footing the bill for the massive security operation. The locals were already on edge, but then things got weird in Sydney. At a high-priced wellness retreat where tickets cost nearly $3,000, the atmosphere shifted from meditation to surveillance. One paying guest, an Australian journalist, received a personal welcome email only to be blindsided 24 hours later. She was unceremoniously kicked out and refunded. Why? Because after a forensic background check, they realized she worked in media. It seems the Her Best Life retreat was only for women whose lives could be strictly controlled. The organizers began calling it a closed-door experience, but to the public, it looked like a desperate attempt to stop any real information from leaking out. They were hunting for moles in a room full of people who had paid thousands for connection and community. But there's a reason for the paranoia. There's a reason they are terrified of a journalist in the room or an unscripted moment. Because while Harry and Meghan are trying to sell a narrative of wellness and safety in Australia, the legal discovery process back in London is about to do something they've spent years trying to avoid. It's about to force them to hand over the one thing that could end this entire saga: the receipts. Wait until you see what happens when a private text message meets a High Court judge.
The most terrifying thing for any celebrity isn't a bad headline, it's a legal phase called discovery. And for the Duke of Sussex, the April 2026 filing by Centreball has just opened a door that he's spent years trying to keep bolted shut. In a defamation case, you don't just get to tell your side of the story, you have to hand over the proof. Every private text, every encrypted WhatsApp message, and every off-the-record email between his team and the media is now potentially subject to court scrutiny. The charity's legal team is specifically hunting for the fingerprints of that alleged smear campaign. They want to see if there was a roadmap, a plan to neutralize Dr. Sophie Chanduka before she could overhaul the charity's finances. If those documents exist, they could reveal exactly how information is weaponized behind the scenes. It's the ultimate irony. The man who has spent millions suing the press for invading his privacy is now being forced by his own charity to strip that privacy away. But the pressure isn't just coming from the courtroom. In Australia, the wellness facade is cracking under the weight of mounting costs. While Meghan's retreat organisers were busy hunting for moles, the public was busy looking at the bill. Despite the privately funded promises, reports suggest the security costs for this 5-day tour could reach 6 figures, all paid for by the very taxpayers the couple's spokesperson dismissed as a moot point. It's a perfect storm of legal and financial peril. On one side of the world, a High Court judge is waiting for the receipts. On the other, a furious public is demanding to know why they're paying for a promotional tour disguised as a royal visit. For years, the narrative has been that the world was against them, but as the 2026 court records show, the calls are now coming from inside the house. The foundation built in Diana's memory is no longer a shield, it's the prosecution. And as this case moves toward a potential trial, the world is about to find out what happens when the forget-me-not legacy finally decides to speak up. Hit subscribe right now, because this is no longer just a royal feud. It's a legal reckoning that could change everything.